What is shaking, y'all? It is episode 50. Look at me. Look at me when I'm talking to you, Samar. It is episode 50 of the Golden Mic Live. It's your boy, Mark Cordone, with Samar Kargbo. Samar, do you know how I made it to 50 episodes?
I don't.
Because you cannot cancel me. I produced the show. I don't care if nobody's watching. We made it to 50 episodes. We also made it to 50 episodes because we have an amazing community that come out, do the Golden Mics, support folks like Samar Kargbo. And we got a great one today. We got a great 50th today. Samar Kargbo, author of the Renegade Manifesto. The Renegade Manifesto, author of that. Samar Kargbo, motivational speaker.
That's right.
Look
I speak motivationally.
Mess.
The keys, I feel like they come across real nice, and it's not a mess. I'm very well put together. Thank you, Mike.
And we got my friend Samar Kargbo on the episode, so I'm looking forward to talking to you today. We are going to be talking about a very simple thing that plagues almost 100% of humans, and that is getting in your own way. How is it that we are here? We know that we want to get here. Well, we oftentimes get in our own way. Look, I'm out of frame already, like we talked about in the pre-show. We often get in our own way. Samar, I cannot wait for you to tell your story and tell us what goes on when we get in our own way and how we can get out of it. First off, if y'all haven't met me, it's been 50 episodes and you haven't met me yet. My name is Mark Cordone, and I'm the founder of the Make Money Coaching Program. But more importantly, I'm a positive psychology coach, which means two things. Number one, on a daily basis, do you feel happiness? Do you feel gratitude on a daily basis? Number two, on a daily basis, do you feel like you are living in your purpose to full capacity? Those two things. So if you're doing those two things, you do not need a positive psychology coach. You don't need a motivational speaker. Just do your own thing. Keep doing it. Now, Samar, are you living your life to full capacity when it comes to happiness on a daily basis and fulfillment?
That's an easy question and a hard question, because yes, I am living my life to the best I can right now. But I know for a fact that I can do better. So I'm not yet going up to my fullest potential, but I'm doing as best as I can right now.
Yo! I'm just going to say that because we got Brother Kulas in the house. Saying yo with us.
Oh, man.
Mike Mielo. That's awesome, Mike. That is awesome. Mark's made me smile 50 times, baby. Rock on, guys. And that has nothing to do with the show. I just crack Mielo up all the time. Mike, I hope you're doing well. Hope your business is doing well, brother. Now, for those of you who have never watched this episode, for those of you who are watching the Facebook Live, if you're feeling good and you're living your life in full fulfillment, Samar, put your hands up with me. Make a heart. Make a heart. Give Samar an eye for God's sake, 50 hearts. Slam it over.
That's still a heart.
How do you beat that heart? How do you beat that heart? Beat that heart. Beat that heart. Now play the keys. Play your keys. Play your keys. Give us.
What it's all about. I come to play.
Is that what the keys are? You came to play?
I came to play. Okay. That's right.
Get it. Mike Faber's living life to fullest. Good to see you. That Faber. I also wanted to throw this out there, y'all. It's not always about the craps and giggles and playing your air, whatever your air piano keys on your shirt.
Piano, keytar, whatever you need.
Your piano, keytar. There's ups and downs and all arounds of life, y'all. It's not always about Taco Tuesday every day. And a lot of people think that positive psychology is just being happy through everything. If it's Thursday and you're like, Cordone, 50 episodes, I've had enough. I've got a headache. I'm not feeling good today. or if you're in a stage in life where you're like, you know what? I used to know what it was like to live in full fulfillment. I used to know what it was like to live in full purpose. And you know what? Right now, I have no idea what's going on. That is cool too. Your heart beats just like Samar and mine. You are living the journey. You are on the journey. You're on the hero's journey. So give us a thumbs up if you're just living it and you're with us today. Just give us a thumbs up. That's all we ask for. Mike Faber wants to know, how do you mess up doing a heart? I don't know, but he made up for it by playing.
Talented.
He made up for it by playing the air keys, baby. He played the air keys after that.
That's
now
right.
You got some.
No other guest on the Golden Mic has done this. I'm the only one. I gave you a little bit of that too. The shoulders. That's what I do.
This is already nuts. This is straight nuts, man. He's playing his suspenders. He's playing his suspenders. Now, here's the other thing, y'all. Here's the big one. We've done 50 episodes in a row. You've got some big shoes to fill because everyone's been doing this. This is the hottest. This is the hottest part of
me. I got really big feet.
Well, this is the hottest part of the internet right now. The internet's going to shut down to watch you, Samar.
So I'm ready.
We got feeling good. We got living in your full potential. We got the ups, downs, and all arounds of life. If you feel like you're optimistic about your future, there's another button down there, y'all. There's another button, and that's the wow face. Samar, give me a big old wow face. Favor's just been dethroned.
Did that work with I had to get him out of the way.
Now play your air keys again. I can't get enough of the air keys. I can't get
Did you get it?
This is a mess. This is an absolute mess. We might have to start from the beginning.
Playing the songs to your heart, Mark.
Okay, so we got Samar. I've been looking forward to this one for a while, man. 50th episode. Love it. We're going to be talking about getting out of your own way in a second. I love the levity that you have. For those of you who are tuning in, this is a person with a very deep background. So it's not just about wow faces and playing piano, air piano. So let's go there. What is your story, Samar?
So for me, my journey began a little bit before that, but let's say my journey in the public eye. I was somewhere around 16, 17, and I was under duress, forced in front of roughly 3,000 to 5,000 people. They said I had a good personality. They said that I needed to do this thing. It was at a Christian conference, and they said, go up on stage, Samar. I prepared my little thing. I went up on stage, and I kind of got hooked. They were right. And, fast forward 3 years, 19, I accepted a call to become a pastor. Young adults, kids. I started counseling from there, speaking positivity in people's lives. It lasted a good 2 years at that location up in Western New York. Then I moved down to Delaware area, did it for 3 more years. A big separation there, and kind of pulled away from motivation. But I was never really away entirely. I mean, I took the classes, I put in the time, and now I had the knowledge, and I was unable to live my life without encouraging people when I knew how. So I always did it. I always pushed and helped whenever I could, wherever I could, and still do. And when it, came to a point where it just wasn't enough to just live or do whatever job, Mark, I've had almost 40 jobs. I've worked a lot of different industries in a lot of different places. But in every single one of them, the one constant was, who's the encourager on the team? This guy. Who's somebody who, when you're dead tired and you don't want to lift one more thing, and you don't want to do one more thing, you do it anyway. This guy, I can get you to do that thing. It was a very specific and very unique thing that I found that I have that somebody else doesn't. So I moved into this space, and now, I mean, the catalyst for this was good old Coach Mike Faber getting me in front of a group of people, and I said, "Whoa, this is amazing! I forgot about this. This great feeling." And so you have me here before you today. I got into to the Make Money coaching program, and a bunch of people said this guy needs to be on the Golden Mic. So here I am.
Yes, you came with quite a bit of fanfare to the Golden Mic.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. So around 16, you're thrown, whether against your will, not against your will. A lot of people saw something in you. 3 to 5, 4,000 people. That's a lot of people when you're 16 years old.
A lot of people, yeah.
So that's a lot of pressure to knock it out of the park, right? When you're 16. Let's talk about younger Samar. Lil Kargbo, as I call him. Lil Kargbo.
Lil Kargbo.
Right? So
that's what they called him on the Prince.
The little prince in outer space.
Told you.
So internally, when you were younger, what were the things that you thought were going to be your calling? Like, did you know that you would be in front of thousands of people?
I had no desire to be in front of groups. Mm-hmm. I was very still am introverted. Yep. I was very away from, being in front of even a small group of people. I wanted to be, I started reading at the age of 3. So I was very into books. I read the dictionary at 8. I was so alone, so bookish. It was wonderful. I was a kid who liked to be alone. Sure. But I came around one day to this book about paleontology, and I decided that's what I was going to do with my life. And I pushed into that, and I loved it until about 7th grade when something told me I needed to be a surgeon. Huh. And then I started cultivating that skill. I'm not a surgeon. I don't love blood. So I don't love it. So I came to an odd sort of place where I said I'll do pretty much anything somebody will pay me to do. So that was kind of the Lil Samar up to semi Lil Samar job sort of cycle.
Yeah, so it wasn't that you were like a 5-6-year-old like imagining being in front of a lot of people and inspiring like that. You were reading books about paleontology in the dictionary. You were reading words.
Yeah, I was reading words and their definitions. So words and words about words.
Okay, so you never thought about being in like some sort of like being like seeing Jeopardy on TV and being like, okay, I see myself doing that.
Not even that. No, I saw myself sitting on my couch watching Jeopardy until I died. Just never wanted to be in front of people. The closest I wanted to get to being in front of people is backstage telling somebody on stage what to do.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so this really was a big thing going in front of that many people.
Absolutely.
Talk to us a little bit about what you go from almost not talking in front of anybody to talking in front of a great deal of folks. And it seems as if folks had the confidence in you that you had a message or that you could communicate that message. How much confidence did you have in yourself about it?
Oh, zero. No, I had none. And what's really great about that is the first thing I ever did was written by somebody else. I was just conveying the message, but it was a youth conference, so they wanted a young person to say it. And I was able to lend verve and vigor to their message. And while I was shaken like a leaf and I was sweating bullets, I powered through it because I had to. because even then I had this idea that if something has to be done and I think that I can do it whether I want to or not, I have to.
Mm.
And
Yep.
it's this beginning of sort of a hero mindset that I didn't like comic books. I don't know where it came from, but that was what I wanted. I decided in that moment I was going to be the hero and I was going to do it and look up to myself if I can.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. There was a psychologist by the name of Maslow who years ago wrote a very similar thing that said, what one imagines they can be, then they must be. They must
Yeah.
become that. Anything less is living a life of settling. And I love the fact that at a young age, maybe you did read Maslow when you were a little,
No,
when you
I
were a
was
little
reading
tyke.
fiction.
Okay. So choose your own adventure type of stuff. Maybe you're reading that stuff.
More like Swiss Family Robinson, Time
Swiss
Traveler.
Family Robinson. That's why you
Yeah, I
have pictures
know.
with pirates behind you. Swiss Family Robinson.
I
I'm
know.
gonna stop the show right now.
Stop the presses. This
Stop
guy
the
reading Great
presses.
Expectations at 12.
Let's throw this out there. We got Brent Schott giving you a Macho Man. Oh
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
brother.
unleash you, baby. Unleash you. Let's talk about unleash you in a little bit. Faber giving you the big arm. That's awesome. Allison Prophet, you might know her. Samar and Mark, confidence ain't got nothing on you right now, Samar. Our boy Jorge tuning in from
Jorge,
Puerto
peace and love.
Rico.
This guy watches
Puerto
my videos.
Rico. Yes, Jorge, I oftentimes write it to you. I'm gonna say it on the record on the 50th show. Jorge is the greatest of all time. Allison, no settling. Oh, it looks like Allison's the
Not once, not never.
Not once, not never. It looks like Allison's a Swiss Family Robinson fan. I think I'm gonna have some. We're gonna have to go into a big old fight with Cordone versus the world. It looks like everyone loves Swiss Family Robinson except for Cordone. So
Not everyone can be perfect all the time, Mark.
Not everybody. Not everybody can be perfect. Not everybody can be perfect. So let's go from this point. You went in. You delivered this message and it felt like you went into the calling phase. Like, wow, this feels right. Right now, let's start moving to how did you get to the point where you're delivering content like you are now? Like, for example, we're in a few minutes, we're going to be talking about getting out of your own way to succeed. How did you start going to that point? I mean, you were reading dictionaries and Swiss Family Robinson. Then you get on stage and now you're delivering some heavy duty things about motivation and getting things done.
Yeah, I guess the switch sort of happened years after. It was when I was a pastor, where I was initially not comfortable. I was doing Sunday school every single week, and I was uncomfortable with it. I mean, it's a group of maybe 8 middle school and high school kids, and I was uncomfortable. I was sweating every week. I was shaking, holding my notes. And one day they looked at me and they're like, we're just kids, right? Like, this isn't that hard. I could do this. And it came to a point where either I'm going to keep being this guy who's going to play small. I'm going to keep being this guy who doesn't think he can do it and has to power through anyway, or I'm going to be this guy who shows up and blows the doors off of this talk every time I do it. And it was and I can't explain it. I try not to teach the things I can't explain, but this is one of those things that it's just part of me. I decided and I shifted into it. And then I was different. I made, a lot of people talk about, and I know we're getting to habits, but a lot of people talk about habits taking like 40 days. Like Rick Warren talks about 40 days of purpose, 40 days of all that. It takes 40 days to develop a habit. I think that's incorrect. I think it takes one sustained choice And you may have to make that for 40 days in a row to prove it to other people. But for me and for those that I've been able to teach, you make that choice and then you're different. And that habit is in place. So that was for me, my talking, my form of confidence, where there's some beautiful music in here, as Les Brown says, and I'm bringing it out because that's the only option I have now. And then, then the talks, and I started studying more early church fathers and the mystics, and coming into Stoic traditions, and loving the idea of philosophy, and it's the dictionary for people. I just entrenched myself in it, and now that how that plays out in me is giving out that motivation, giving out that idea, that subversive thought that, hey, maybe you're worth a little bit more than you say, and maybe a little bit more next week.
I love how you call it subversive, right? Because it really is very subversive to the status quo. It scares a lot of people when you start following your own blueprint versus one that this societal norm has pre-subscribed for us. I love the fact that you bring up the idea that habits don't necessarily come from this sort of short-term or long-term behavior change model, right? Where you kind of see all these things kind of happen and it'll take 40 days, or with some things 180 days, or with other things it takes a full year for your mind to come around. It really comes from that one choice, no messing around, with that one choice. And with that one choice, everything else follows. It's almost as if once you make that choice, you're setting your GPS, and then like whatever road is closed, let me line it up. Here's the GPS, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Whatever road is closed, your path just rearranges, right? And so you might have been shaken like a leaf one day, but that doesn't mean that when you made your decision, you didn't stop shaking like a leaf. You made your decision and it came, maybe you're shaking less, but you're studying more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for me, it was a tectonic shift.
It was a tectonic shift.
I was here and then I was there. A lot of people have.
Speaking of here and there, I want to introduce you to our buddy Lexi, who wants to say hi to you.
Hi, Samar.
Hey, Lexi.
How are you? I just got on.
I'm
what
doing
are you guys
great.
talking about today? What's going on over there?
We are just talking about the tectonic shift that happened with Samar.
That's amazing.
So there are people, Samar, that want to meet you, and so some of our might be jumping on every now and then. So I don't know if you met Lexi yet, but this is your sister Lexi, Samar.
Lexi, nice to meet you, sister.
Hi, buddy. I kind of met you on the Facebook group, but now it's great to talk to you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Lexi, is there anything you want to throw out there before Samar talks about his tectonic shift?
Is it a special day?
Oh, it's a special day.
It's a summer solstice.
Yes,
it's a summer solstice. It's always a special day with Lexi. Lexi, it's good to see you. We'll see you soon. Okay. FAQ 7 p.m. tonight. Actually, you know what? Why don't you stick around there for 1 second, Lexi? Samar, stick with us because we got a fourth person jumping on right now.
Oh,
your sister Allison is coming on to say hi.
What's up, Allison?
Guys?
Allison,
this is your life, Samar.
You're doing it, man. That's awesome.
What's shaking, Allison? Where are you today?
I am in Loveland, Colorado, taking in a beautiful walk in nature. I'm going to go and form some habits.
There you go. That's how you do it.
One
sustained choice.
Habits are formed with one choice, Allison. So what's that one choice you're going to make today with your new habit?
I go home and focus on the things that are on my list that I need to do today, that I want to do today.
Booyakasha.
I can do today.
Booyakasha. Lexi, what's your one choice that's going to dictate your new habits?
I love the word that Allison used is focus. But focus leads me to clarity as I'm looking at my desk and it's super clean. So clarity will be my my guiding word today.
Boom. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. Samar, if we can't get you on those calls in the evening, we're going to come to you. Lexi and Allison, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, go get it, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye. We just had to say hi, brother. So, Samar, awesome. Talk to us about this tectonic shift that you were talking about, because so many people think that decision would just be it's like the small thing, and then the actions are the big thing. But you're actually telling us that the tectonic shift was the decision, not the actions.
That's right. So it's sort of a chicken or egg thing.
Yeah.
I decided one day I am no longer going to wake up whenever I feel like waking up and do whatever the day means I'm going to do. I decided I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm going to do an hour of yoga. I'm going to listen to some motivation. I'm going to start doing a morning Snapchat every single day, encouraging people as if I was going to die tomorrow. I'm going to start doing this in the morning. I'm going to take control of my life by taking control of my day. I made those decisions, and then the actions followed because I made my decision ahead of time.
Now, talk to me about some of the results that have come as a result of the thoughts and the decisions.
All right. So I started doing this in order to get my mind right. I didn't have really, honestly, a goal in mind for that. In fact, I was only going to do it for a week or so. And then I found that after that, I'd had a great day. I'd started with a great day before most people get up.
Yeah.
So I needed to continue it. And it came into studying more and thinking deeper as my day progressed. And what it came to was, I've started outlining my second book. I've started making a program for entrepreneurs to help them get out of their own way and succeed. It's where we get the tagline for the show today. And I'm finding in myself stores of energy where I before had just, only so much. Just decision paralysis. You only make so many decisions in a day. I have this set, what is it, 5 to 8, 3 hours in the morning where I'm not really making any decisions. I'm just following my routine, my habits that I decided to make. And then throughout my day, I'm making more and better decisions because I didn't have to waste. If we look at mental energy as capital, I didn't have to waste any of that revenue on the beginning of my day on how to start it. So I've seen a lot of change.
I'm actually writing this down because that's a big one, dude. In many ways, mental energy is capital. It can also be thought of as willpower, right? And willpower wise, one of the ways that I think about it is that you start the day with a half full jar of M&Ms. And for every decision you make, even if it's like, I'm going to choose to put on, should I choose a black shirt or a white shirt today, right? M&M comes out for every decision, right? However, if you start the day, from what I'm hearing, in the right way, you're filling it to the top so that the rest of the day you're making it's like the Bruce Lee of decision makers, right? It's all kind of streamlined decision making. It's no wasted energy here. And you have enough just in case if a big decision comes where you have to grab a handful of things.
Yeah,
you can grab a handful of things.
I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's such a huge thing, especially with folks who are going into the action decision phase without coming in with the right mindset and saying to them, and they say to themselves, I'm exhausted as it is. Now you expect me to add all these behaviors and actions onto my plate? Well, technically speaking, those behaviors and actions, when put in self-concordance, actually fill you up. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes. Perfect.
It sounds like a proactive form of self-care. versus like,
Yes.
oh, it's the end of the day, I got to go and take a bath and, you know, sit in the bathtub with a glass of wine and my suspenders in my underwear. I know that's how you're.
That's, now you can imagine whatever you like. That's just fine. No pictures.
I saw you. No pictures. You guys are the guys that took.
I can only provide so many things.
Never mind. I wanted to throw out this Allison sheepishly, looking sheepishly to the ground regarding habits. I hear you talking to me directly, guys. Well, technically speaking, we were talking to you directly because you were just on 5 seconds ago. But I know what you're talking about. I know what you were talking about. Love this, guys. I'm glad, Allison, and we're glad that you were on. That idea of willpower is what will carry you through. Now let's get right to it. Why do we get in our own ways?
I think fear is the number one motivator of what stops people. It can be a fear of success, a fear of failure, a fear that perhaps you'll get rejected. I think these things are in their own way subversive because they manifest in 100,000 different ways, and any number of fears can slow you down. They can turn into anxiety. They can turn into depression. They can have a bunch of outflows. But I think the inflow, which we put in, is fear. Because I truly believe this about the world. It is 100,000 or huge amounts. I'll just keep using the word 100,000, but it's huge amounts of information coming at us and
Billions.
us picking and choosing what we'll respond to and how. And if we choose to respond to it in a scared way where we shrink back from it, we're going to have a less abundant outflow of energy. We're going to have roadblocks that we think the world put in our way. But in fact, we did. We're the ones that are sitting there saying, I can't do this. The world says I can't do this. That's why in every single, I didn't even realize it until I've been doing it for weeks. But in every single Snapchat, I say, you can do this, because I truly believe that people need to hear that so that they know, oh, right, I can do this, right? Like it's like, telling a kid, you can jump in the water. Go on, you can do this. And you're there, ready to catch them. But it's fear that holds them back. And they think, no, I can't, until they know, oh, right. No, I can try. I can do this.
Yeah. Samar, let me ask you this. You do this. You inspire so many people. What fear holds you back?
Success. I can tell you unequivocally, the fear of success is what has always held me back, because right from the first time I was in front of that big crowd, my fear was not that I would, and it's like that poem, your deepest fear is not that you're inadequate, it's that you're powerful beyond measure. Yep. My fear was that I would do an amazing job and that I would be asked to do it again. Because what do I do then? Oh no, what if I have to write it next time? Oh no, what if I have to do it with other people? What if this, what if that? And I have this abiding thing that sat under the surface, kind of the whole progression of my life. But my sort of interrupting action of that, you don't know the future. And that's the thing that I tell all the people that come to me with anxiety. You don't know the future. You know what you can do sometimes. Mm-hmm. You may have a smaller idea of what you can do, but you know what you can do. And you know that you need to try if you can. But you don't know how it's going to play out. You don't know what anyone else is going to do. So you may as well do your best, because you can fail at something you hate.
Yep. I think there are so many people out there that could probably relate to a fear of success. Anyone who's ever written a speech and they have the speech in front of them and they know that it's badass, and has ever gone in front of a crowd and have looked into the crowd, and then they take their speech and then they rip it up and then they say, I'm going to speak from the heart, y'all. And people are like, yeah, do it. Many times we are fearing that what we just created is beyond amazing, and that success is going to lead us to things that we have to write. We have to go through the anxiety of writing another one. And so we would rather reject our greatness so that we don't have to necessarily do that again and then be seen as a fraud or seen as, something else. That is
syndrome.
Totally imposter syndrome. I'm going to put on a little bit, in a little bit, the Instagram that you post every single day. Samar, thanks. And so we'll send some more people over there to the Snapchat. Nice. It's not you in your undies, right? Like,
it will never be me in my undies, but you will almost always see suspenders.
So what are you also have this thing about your favorite tricks that humans do. I'm so curious about that. Just the way that you phrase that, your favorite human tricks. What do you mean by that, Samar?
So it's this thing where, I mean, it was a long time ago that I came up with the idea, but it's sort of folded into my newer thinking. So I live my life by 3 basic guidelines: decency, legacy, agency. Right. And it's cascading. So if it's not decent, no need to worry about the other 2. I'm not going to do it. If it is decent, but it's not going to live beyond me, it's not going to, have any ripples to it, no legacy, don't need to worry about it. But if it's decent, it will leave a legacy. Then I can worry about, is this of my free will? Is this of my agency? And in that, once you have that, you have to consider little things, because that's a big idea. But when you consider little things in concert with that, it's walking by someone whose papers just fell off their table at the coffee shop and wondering, should I help them pick those up? Because I've got one hand free, but I don't know, the other one's like used right now. Doing that. I could just not. And it's a whole conversation you have in your head in a fraction of a second. And those things, when you stop and you pick those things up, when you say, yeah, I really like those shoes on you, to somebody you're just passing on the subway, when you say, you are my favorite friend, when you say things to someone, it can be, which is, I use all those to say, it can be someone super close to you, or it can be someone you've never met before in your life. But when you impact someone else's life in a positive way, whether big or small, that's my favorite thing. That is my favorite trick that humans do. I don't think we have a better example of humanity.
I absolutely love that. A few years ago, someone had asked me, and I don't know if you have heard the term microaggressions.
Yes.
This is where you live your life and there's just tiny little things that either remind you that you've come from a history that has been wiped out, or that some people think that you're less than. You can't necessarily figure out what the major aggressor is, but it's all kind of ubiquitous and around you, right? And they're microaggressions. They're so small that you can't really put a pinpoint on it. And someone once asked me, how do you get rid of microaggressions? And I could only theoretically say, well, you would get rid of microaggressions by hitting it over the head with micro appreciations or macro appreciations. And and that's a macro and micro appreciation to yourself and others. And what I'm hearing you say in your favorite human tricks is that possibly a micro appreciation could be seen as the overlap of decency, legacy, and agency. Because when we do see a piece of paper fall and there's a feeling of either schadenfreude, right?
Or there's better that than me.
It's like, oh, sucks to be you, or man, I went to an all boys high school. If you dropped your tray, dork, right? Very, very, very. But then there was always that one kid. For me, it was Sean Gonzalez, always the one kid that when it happened to me, he would help me pick up my tray, right? And I've never forgotten about Sean, right?
Yeah.
And so when it comes to decency, legacy, and agency, those those little human tricks sound like they can destroy landscapes of that are filled with microaggressions, and even straight up hate and injustice.
Yeah, I believe that those three things working in concert can persuade most people on the planet to pursue goals for the betterment of society. And if they aren't doing that after pursuing those three things, then they don't understand them.
Yeah, Faith Clark is loving it. Faith Clark up in New York, loving that.
Faith.
Decency, legacy,
I
agency.
love her episode of The Golden Mike. She did great.
I was gonna say, shouldn't you be on like, shouldn't you be writing right now, Faith? Or I think you should also be
accountability.
Yeah, you should. I think you were also on vacation, Faith, but it's good to see you celebrating with us on the 50th episode. That's a nugget right there. Decency, legacy, and agency. That's something that I'm hoping people will walk away from this episode feeling empowered about. I've got little goosebumps, I must admit, my friend. I've got little goosebumps about the decency, legacy, and agency piece.
1,000 little hand claps. I'll take it.
Yeah. So let's talk about anything we may have missed. Now we're talking about decency, agency, and legacy. Oftentimes in that microsecond, it is hard for us to sometimes get out of our patterned behaviors of just walking by, putting our head forward and not looking at any of the people that could use a hand from us. How do we actually start getting out of our own way? What does this look like now? We've made a decision. The fear is creeping up. We're living with decency, legacy, or agency, or we're finding our own value system to our core that makes sense for us. What does getting out of our own way to succeed look like now?
Now, for me, this is how I teach it. You have habits that are in place ahead of time. So I do these things. I do radical decisions where, I wasn't going to mention it, but Mike's going to get a kick out of this one. About a week and a half ago, I decided, because of one podcast I listened to, I was going to take 7 days and not eat. I was going to fast for 7 days. And it was in the morning, so I hadn't eaten yet. So I started drinking water, and that and salt was all I had for the next 7 days. That was an exhibition of mental toughness. So I knew that I had the willpower. I believed myself when I said I would do it. And so I made it simply because I had the mental toughness built up. So we're talking mental, emotional, physical toughness that I try and practice, and mold every day. So when we're talking about getting in our own way, all we have are muscles that are stronger at stopping us than muscles that are stronger at getting us going. So if you exercise those muscles over and over, use the 5-second rule, like Mel Robbins says, use whatever it is, actuate yourself more often, and you'll be that hero. You'll be that person that does my favorite thing that humans do. And it'll just be a habit. It'll just be what you do. You won't even think about it ahead of time because you'll have more mental muscles in place that get you to do the good thing than mental muscles. And it's not that get you to do the bad thing. It's mental muscles in place that'll stop you from doing anything. Because the opposite, to me, the opposite of acting good in the world is not acting in the world. It's apathy. And that's the opposite of love. Same thing. Apathy. If you aren't willing to act, then you may as well not have been there.
Huge. Okay, so let's talk about this. Man, we got into flow, Samar. It's almost past the hour, right? Are you having a good time?
Oh, I'm having a great day.
I'm having a great day. So where did that come from?
I don't
know. So let's talk through this now. You and I do belong to, I get to say it, in a very elite group of people who are value-driven business folks who are on the brink, or not on the brink, who are on the brink of being recognized for their greatness, right? So, Samar, it is an honor to be a part of your growth, my growth, some of the people who showed up. We're all a part of this. We're all a part of that legacy, right? When it comes to that. How are you taking the things that you learned when you were young Samar reading out of a dictionary, to Samar who was overcoming fear, to Samar who read a book, to Samar who went a week on water and salt alone? What y'all don't know is that he ate 100 chicken McNuggets on the 8th day. No sauce.
Just,
Yeah. Num, 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 num. But with all of that now, Samar as a pastoral counselor, now you're also helping people in different ways. You're doing it through your speaking. You're doing it through this new program that you're launching. Talk to us about that now. Talk about the interface with Samar.
So the interface of, which is a great word to use, by the way, the sort of progression from thought to action for me is turning into it started with the one-on-one sort of aspect, and there's been just a million people who either by direct action or secondary, tertiary ways of hearing or getting my words that I've impacted in some way over the years. And now I'm turning that into a more personal thing with the coaching. Over the past few months here, it's transformed into Samar, the entrepreneur coach. So I've had a number of business failures and successes, and I've been in a place where the best thing that I got out of every single one of them was the ability to speak into somebody else's life and say, I've been there, buddy. We can do this together. Or I haven't been exactly where you are, but I know the mindset you need to have to get where you're going.
Yeah.
Or any one of a million different things, but it's a personal or group session to talk out how we can get you from standing on your own feet to walking towards success.
Amazing. So I've got this thing, samarthinks.com. We go to samarthinks.com. What do we get from you there?
Over there, you're going to get an overview of a very small overview of some of the things I can do. I have some services. I have a short about me section.
Okay.
It's really just a portal to get you from where you are to contacting me. Samar Thinks was just a thing that popped up one day. I think it's Tweety or Apostle or something like that as my as a handle on, I think it was Twitter or something. Apostle was actually an acronym for a Prince of Sierra Leone, which is a figurehead thing that isn't actually real or political. But I am technically, historically, a prince where my dad comes from in Sierra Leone. So I did that, and I was like, well, maybe switch that up. So Samar Thinks came out of that, because every single thing I put in Twitter, I wanted to be able to start with Samar Thinks and then write out whatever message it was. Made me laugh. So I Samar is a real prince. Yeah.
Yes.
So I use that for everything now. That's my Twitter. That's my Instagram. That's my Snapchat. That's my website. Samar Thinks. Makes it really easy to find me anywhere you go.
Now, I do have this. Are you offering up some complimentary sessions?
That I
those
am.
Who email you?
Okay. For anyone who emails me at info@samarthinks.com, you can receive one free. It'll be more of a half consultation, half coaching session. We'll get it to, an hour, 90 minutes, whatever you need. We'll get you handled, and it'll be a nice beginning. If you can't, continue with me, at least you'll have some tools that'll continue forward. And if you can continue with me, it's a nice starting point to get us where we need to go, which is you succeeding in business or in life. Because I'll see other people, but I focus on the entrepreneurs.
That's freaking awesome. That is freaking awesome. Samar, Prince Samar, you have almost said it all. I've almost heard enough. I'm loving getting to know you, man. I'm loving what you're doing. I'm loving the decency, legacy, and agency piece. I just want to thank you. For those of you who are watching this live or are watching the replay, I want you to like Samar. I want you to love Samar. I want you to want some more of Samar, and I want you to share this out. I want you to share this out, okay? Now, Samar, this is why it's called the Golden Mic. I don't know if you've ever seen this part, because this is the part where you make it to the end. This is the seventh day, the 23rd hour of water and salt. This is the last part of it, and this is what why it's named the Golden Mic. So, Samar, you've got a golden mic that's coming down right now in front of you, right? And it's stopping right in front of your mouth, right? And the cool thing about this golden mic is that the golden mic translates into every language all across the world. And it's going to translate like that for 2 minutes. So the entire world is going to be listening to Samar on the Golden Mic Live. And Samar, you're live now.
All right. I know it's a video too, so I want you to be able to see my eyes. Rumi said, set your life on fire and surround yourself with people who will fan your flames. But that fire is you. And that fire needs to be, as Mark Cordone would say, beyond resilient. That fire needs to change lives. That fire needs to be past whatever you thought it could burn in the past. It needs to be stronger than anything that you thought it could be in the future. That fire, when rubbish or whatever falls on it that the world meant for it to snuff out, it needs to work around it. It needs to snuff out the rubbish. It needs to destroy anything in its path. And it needs to move through this world with legacy, with decency, with agency. It needs to change anything that stands in its path that wants to stop it, because you are a monster of creation. You are the only thing that can succeed in this world when you set your mind to something. So never stop moving forward. Never stop thinking of the best. You are so amazing that you can do this. I believe in you. How's that?
Samar, put those glasses back on. Now I want you to take that golden mic, Samar, and I want you to smash that golden mic. Now I want you to take your thumbs. I want you to put them behind. I want you to put them behind. I want you to play. I want you to play. I'm going to play with you. It is a parade, everybody. This has been the Golden Mic, episode 50. Samar knocked it out of the park. I'm coming to you with 50 more. We're going to start fresh, but you know what? We're turning off the Golden Mic. It is Thursday. I want you to get off social media and spend some time with your family. We'll come back with episode 51 next Tuesday. This is Samar. Go to Instagram, Samar Thinks. I am Mark Cordone, and after 50 episodes, I got one final question for you. If you're feeling good every single day, and you're living your life to full purpose, what is your responsibility to the greater good? I'm Mark Cordone. This is Samar. Samar, thank you, brother. We will see you next week.